What's going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? So today we're going to check out an RDA that was designed and created by a coil builder that goes by the name of Squirming Coils, and this is also created by 3C Vape. Today we're going to check out the Conspiracy RDA, sitting on top a squonk mod that was sent over by 3C Vape that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show you guys this mod or not. Just in case, you know what, I'll just show you the back of it. How's that? There's the back of it. And I got a 0.1 dual coil on here, vaping on some of the Beard Vape Co. number 5, and we're going to have a quick vape, and we're going to dive into it. And by dive into it, I mean we're actually going to dive into it, because this RDA comes completely disassembled. You have to put it together all by yourself, so this is going to be interesting. Let's have a quick vape. Not bad at all. Now, the Conspiracy was sent over directly by 3C and also Squirming Coils. And for that reason, since I have 2 of them, we're going to toss one into the Christmas stocking behind me. Now, if you guys are looking to pick one up or check one out after the video, I noticed on the Squirming Coils website he was out of stock, but I did find it over at Vapor DNA, and I believe it's still in stock. $59.99. I will also have a link to the Squirming Coils website because he builds and he sells some pretty awesome coils, and we're also going to check out some of his coils in the up close. So let's have an up close look at the Conspiracy RDA, this one coming from 3C Vape and also Squirming Coils. This is a collaboration. It's going to come in this little plastic bottle. And what's interesting about this RDA is that it's going to come in pieces, and you actually have to assemble it yourself. Now, some people may find this a downside, maybe, you know, they're too lazy to do it, but I kind of think it's a cool idea because it gives people out there who are not that familiar with atomizers or RDAs, it kind of gives them a general idea on how RDAs work, how to assemble them, what all the parts and pieces do. So we're actually going to put this thing together, and I'm going to show you guys exactly where everything goes. Now, when you get everything out of the bag, there's going to be 2 baggies, okay? And one's going to be a spare parts bag, and one is going to be the actual bag that contains all the screws and parts needed to assemble it. So this one's a spare parts bag, and this one you could tell because there's a post inside of there. So that's the bag we're going to use. We'll set this bag aside if we ever need it. And then, of course, you're going to get your build deck. You'll get your barrel section, your top cap or your airflow control ring. You're going to get your drip tip, and you're going to get an Allen key. And then inside the bag, what do we get inside here? Let's see. Dump this out. We're going to get, of course, all the O-rings needed for this RDA, which I probably cannot get out, but we'll worry about that in a moment. And we're going to get what appears to be the, I think this is, yeah, this is the positive post. This is going to be your insulator for the positive post. We're going to get the 510 insulator, the 510 screw, and we're going to get post screws, it looks like. So pretty much all you got to do is just install the positive post, install the insulators, 510 pin, and the O-ring. So this is your negative post that's already pre-installed, and as you can see, it's actually milled directly into the deck, which is really nice. A lot of companies stop doing this, but I prefer the negative to be milled into the deck just because it's constructed a little bit more durable. But it's cheaper, actually, I think, to have your negative post screwed in. So it is a nice touch, and you can see this thing is very heavily plated in what appears to be silver. So pretty nice. All right, so this is really throwing me off, but what we're going to do is grab the positive, grab the little insulator, which is a peak insulator, and we're going to take that and cap it on the bottom right there. Just line up the hole like so. It's going to be a tight fit, of course, so you might have to struggle a little bit with getting this, but it will fit. Maybe if I actually put it the right way, it would fit even better. There we go. All right, so got that in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drop this in There's a little groove in there, so it should sit perfectly in place. And for those out there that are kind of new to RDAs and the concept and everything, this is your positive block, and that insulator right there, this whole assembly right here is going to be negative. So this little insulator is what separates the positive from the negative. So we're dropping the positive into the negative, and that insulator separates it. Drop it in completely straight, and then it'll fall in perfectly. All right, so we got that in there. Now, once again, we want to separate a positive from a negative. So we're going to use this insulator again, and we're going to drop it into the 510 pin area, like so. And I believe that sits. There we go. Push it in there like so. And once again, the threads are the negative, and the positive is going to be the pin itself. So that's why that insulator is there, to separate the positive from the negative. So as you're holding that post with your finger, take your 510 pin, just screw it down with your finger, grab a flathead screwdriver, there we go, and screw it down. You want to make sure it's tight, but don't get stupid and try to crank it with all your force. Just kind of hand tighten it, because you do want it tight. All right, there you go. There's the build deck, all set up, ready to go. All right, so we have 3 thin O-rings and 1 fat O-ring. So the thin ones are going to go around the build deck, and it appears that this build deck takes 2 O-rings. So whichever way is easier for you. All right, there's the O-rings. Got 2 O-rings on the build deck. So the build deck's done and finished. They do include a squonking pin. So if you want to use this on your squonk mod, install that squonking pin instead of the solid pin. Take the other thin O-ring, and we're going to use that on the airflow control ring. Slide it on up to the very top. Right, I think this is using the thin one, right? Yep, there we go. And the trickiest O-ring, well, it might be tricky. This is going to go inside, because this is an 810 drip tip. So this might be a little tricky. If you have a problem putting this in, just lube it up with some E-juice or some VG. But I always have a hard time putting these in. Whoa, wait a minute. There you go. Pop right in. Wow, that was pure luck. And then take the barrel section. Put it the right way, of course. Pop that in there. Take your drip tip. Might want to lube it up a little bit so you don't pinch that O-ring. Or you can just do what I do and just, yeah. Just give it a nice lick. Come on. That is a real tight fit with that. Is it on there? It's in there. It's a tight fit. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. All together. That's together. That's together. This is together. That's together. Hold on. Come on. Don't fail me. Don't fail me. Oh, it was almost too perfect. Oh. Well, they're brand new O-rings, so you want to make sure you lube them up with some juice. But once you do that, there you go. Now, hopefully you can do that in probably half the time I did. Now, the Conspiracy RDA measures 24 millimeters in diameter. At the top, they do include this very chunky 810 Ultim drip tip. You'll see it's like a donut-style drip tip. Very thick edges right there. And also on the front, I noticed they have something machined in there, a name or something. I just cannot make it out. I'm not sure if it says Conspiracy or what it says exactly. It's just way too small, but you can use all your own standard 810 drip tips. You cannot use 510 drip tips on here because they do not include a 510 drip tip adapter. Now you can run this RDA with either a single coil or a dual coil. What's nice is you can close off one of the air slots and you can actually just run one open for single coil, or you can run them both for dual coil. Each of those air slots will measure 10 millimeter by 2 millimeter. We do have the Conspiracy Squirming Coils logo machined on the front. Very nicely done. And then at the bottom, we have some more machine work by Squirming Coils and 3C Vate, Conspiracy. And of course, we already seen the 510 pin, but we do have a gold-plated 510 pin that is not adjustable, but it does stick out far enough to safely use on a hybrid connection. And you can also install the bottom feeding pin to use on a squonk device. The machine work on the Conspiracy, I will say they did a really good job at machining this. All the parts are buttery smooth, no sharp edges. The polishing on the stainless steel, very well done. And we have a little bit of a dome on the inside to help give it a little bit more flavor. And if we have a quick look at the build deck, which you've technically already seen before, but we'll look at it again, you'll see very heavily silver plated, measures 22 millimeters in diameter. We have the top post design, so it's kind of postless, kind of not. We do have 4 post holes, and each of those holes will measure 3 millimeter by 1.5 millimeter. Allen grub screws in the post that are side mounted. We have a peak insulator separating the positive from the negative that we were installed. And they state on their website that it's a 5 millimeter deep juice well. But I noticed that I over dripped on this thing a lot. And I measured the juice well, and it's a slightly over 3 millimeters. So their measurement's a little incorrect on that, but it is a pretty shallow juice well. Now here's the one that I've been using. And building on it's really easy. You can experiment with the coil height. You can either place the coils directly in front of the air hole, or you can raise them up a little higher, a little above the air hole. But when you mount your coils, you're going to want to pull them over more towards the side. But building on it's fairly easy. It's kind of like building on a postless build deck. And wicking it, once again, fairly easy. But just keep in mind that juice well is pretty shallow. Let's have a quick look at some of the coils that the Squirming Coils builder sent over. He actually does make coils, and they are available on his website. And I'll show you a few of the coils that he sent over really quick. So a link for his website will be in the description on where you can purchase his coils at. But he makes some beautiful looking coils. They come in these little plastic pods. And he has the description of the coil on the bottom right there. Alien. I think that says 0.11, 2736 gauge. And he makes quite a bit actually. If you go on his website, check out all his different coils. There's some smaller ones. These are going to be fused Claptons. And what do we got here? We got some frame staples. Let's see what those look like. Oh, those are nice. Really nice looking coils this guy makes. And what else? This is some more aliens. Ooh, beautiful looking coils. And then we got some more aliens. These are aliens and framed. Let's say frame micro. Oh, frame aliens. Check those out. Ooh, man, those are hot looking. So let's talk a little bit about the conspiracy. Now, the fact that it comes disassembled, some people are not going to like that. But I think it's a pretty cool idea because it's going to give the new rebuilders out there a general idea on how atomizers are put together. Which one's the negative post? Which one's the positive post? What does the peak insulator do? So that way in the future, if they ever have an issue with this atomizer or any other atomizer, they know exactly how to take it apart. So I think it was a pretty cool idea. Plus, it's kind of fun to put together. The A10 drip tip on here is nice and comfortable. It's one of those really chunky kind of donut style Ultim tips. It doesn't come with the 510 adapter, which is a bummer because this one does single coil mode, and I would have liked to use my 510 drip tips, but not an option. The airflow options on here, nice wide open airflow, nice and smooth. You can close it off. It's a direct lung RDA, of course, and you have the option of running just one air hole for single coil, which is nice. The machine work, for being an RDA made in China, I think they did a beautiful, beautiful job. All the parts are just, the stainless was very nicely polished. Everything's nice and smooth, it's not sharp, it doesn't feel cheap, and the silver plating actually looks really, really good. You get the protruding 510 pin to use on your hybrid mods, you get the bottom feeding pin to use on your squonk mods. As far as the build deck, building on it's easy. The posts are a little far apart, so I found making really long coils to make it much easier to drop them in or to space your coils out. I personally, for me, I would just like the posts to be a little bit closer together, but that's just a personal preference. If you're a builder, the type that likes to take photos on Instagram, you could probably do a lot with this build deck. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Because you have the postless design, you could pretty much put any kind of monstrosity on top of there, but I found building on it to be not too bad. The only issue I have when it comes to the build deck was the juice well. They advertised 5 mils. I measured about 3.2, 3.3 millimeter. And I was over dripping a lot because I over drip. And I was wondering, why am I over dripping so much? I measured the juice well and it was pretty shallow. So if you're an over dripper, you might be a little messy with this one. The O-rings, I'm not sure if I mentioned in the up close if they were loose or not. They're really tight when you don't have any juice on anything. When you get them juiced up, they're not loose. But you see what I'm doing here? They're not loose. They're kind of in the middle of loose and snug, if you know what I mean. So it'll hold its own weight, but if you do a quick little wiggle, I don't want to do it, there we go, it'll pop off. So I wish the O-rings were just a hair bit tighter. It would have been perfect. Aside from that, though, I think it's a pretty nice RDA. It vapes really well, got smooth airflow, puts out good flavor, as long as you position your coils at the right height. But yeah, they did a nice job, I think. I think Squirming Coils and 3C did a really awesome job. Congrats to them on this fine little masterpiece. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today on the... I almost forgot the name of it. I did forget the name of it. Oh my God. You're talking about the atomizer. You mentioned the name 5 times, and then at the very end, you forget about the name. Wow. The conspiracy. Thank you. Anyways, I have multiple personalities. I just asked my other personality, and he said conspiracy. Hi. All right, I'm having a breakdown. I need medication. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. I'll see you very soon. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, one of these, where's it at? There it is. Going into the Christmas stocking. Yes. Make sure you guys subscribe, all that good stuff. Have a fun weekend. I'm hungry, I'm irritable, and I need coffee. See you soon. Bye-bye.